fellas, not even Michael Jordan had a perfect shooting percentage when he was active in the NBA, which means it's okay for all of us to have an off night from time to time. But when it comes to fixing off nights in the sack, the answer does not lie with a sketchy gas station pill or a boner pill filled with crazy side effects. Oh, no, no, no. The answer comes from joy mode. Oh, yeah. Because whether you're happy or unhappy with your bedroom performance, why not perform even better? I bet your partner would like that. Enjoy Mode's sexual performance booster is like a pre-workout, but for sexy time. Oh yeah. It's designed to support erection quality, firmness, and sex drives. It contains clinically supported doses of arginine nitrate, L-citrulline, Panax ginseng, and vitamin C. And best of all, Jordan Mode is safe and backed by science. All ingredients have been assessed in peer-reviewed journals. Plus, all ingredients have been studied and researched in humans. So I don't know about you guys, but I'll never go back to over-the-counter drugs after trying Joy Mode. It's small enough to fit in your wallet and take with you on the go. It's the perfect travel companion to take you to sexy town. Oh, yeah. So don't miss your chance to up your game in the bedroom, people. Go to tryjoymode.com for 20% off with promo code FratChat. That's 20% off and free shipping with promo code FratChat at tryjoymode.com. Great sex solved naturally. It's Joy Mode, people. And we are recording.
I keep coughing from weed. I'm not sick anymore. My cold is gone.
I was gonna say every time for the last month we've started the show, Simo starts having an aneurysm. So, just making sure we're all good.
I'm coughing right now because I just smoked a joint.
Yeah, so it's a good cough, you guys. If you're listening,
say no to drugs unless you're trying to make friends.
Yeah,
you heard it here first.
We're gonna do that in 3, 2, 1.
What are you doing?
Testes in my mouth.
Get on the ground, you fucking pledge.
Ew.
Welcome to the greatest podcast experience of your life. This is the FratChat podcast.
All young men like 3 things: food, booze, pussy.
Featuring Carlos Garcia and Chris Moore.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the greatest podcast in the history of podcasting time. It's the FratChat podcast. I'm Carlos Garcia with Chris Moore.
Oh, it's good. Thanks for asking. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm living the dream. For those of you not watching us on YouTube, which you can do so at FratChat Podcast, my face is a little cold. It feels weird to see it, especially on the screen here.
You've been watching Vampire Diaries?
That's right. It's a fantastic show. Actually, we were just talking about it a couple weeks ago, right here on this very show. So check out the archives, FratChat Podcast. Oh yeah. But if you're listening to this now, I did see that the Yankees lost Game 1 of the World Series. I'm not a huge baseball fan, but that is what's going on in the world. I did see, which sucks. I'm sorry. I live in the area. I shouldn't be laughing. I should be supporting. But Baltimore, ride or die. They got hit with a walk-off grand slam last night by the Dodgers, and I did see that. I happened to be walking home from a spot, and so it was on like every TV, So looking over it when it happened, it was like, oof. Everybody was so mad. So I'm gonna get the fuck out of here before the riots start. Luckily, nothing really happened. But as soon as I got home, you could hear like ambulances everywhere. So it was like either people fighting, I'm sure, or someone getting too fucked up. It's like,
You know what? And when I lived in Chicago, I think we talked about this before, but in Chicago, they're all about their sports. I mean, like there's a lot of sports. I don't even want to say sportsmanship. This is just a lot of like crazy fans. And whenever, like in hockey, when they've won the Stanley Cup, I think it happened twice while I was living there. And people would like flip cars over, and
Mm-hmm.
they would all stomp on police cars and they would crush. And then we gave it leeway. We're like, oh, whatever. Like sports fans will be sports fans. But then when there was like Black Lives Matter movement, and people are getting like maced and beat up, and there's so
And the
much like,
cops.
and the cops were like, this is crazy. I'm like, why is this crazy? Because they
Yeah.
were flipping cars a couple months ago. You had no problems with it. You're like, boys will be
Yeah.
boys. You know what I mean? It's just like, I
Especially
don't
because
know.
the BLM things, people forget it was the cops that started macing people first, like most of the time. Like it wasn't like, those people would not be armed or anything. But yeah, the sports fans, it was like, yeah, boys will be boys. And it's like, they're like throwing Molotov cocktails in the building. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, go
totally.
Chicago! Whoa! Punching a cop in the face. The guy's like, yeah, go Chicago. Yeah, go
You
ahead,
know,
boys.
Chicago is very Irish Catholic, and so St. Patrick's Day is a big day for Chicago, especially on the south side of
Mm.
Chicago, and everyone is painted green. Like they dye the river green, and I mean, I never thought of St. Patrick's Day being like a big deal anywhere else in the world except for Chicago. It's crazy.
It is absolutely. Uh, Actually, I would like to check out like a St. Patty's Day over there around, like the parade and shit. I think it'd be fun to go do some drinking.
Yeah, like people are drunk
Uh,
and puking on the trains at 8 and 9 in the morning.
oh
It's always the
man,
Saturday before St. Patrick's Day. Let's
that's
go!
fun. Well, you were speaking of painting or dyeing the river green. If you recently been to McDonald's, you might have been dyeing the river brown because recently, apparently, there's been a huge outbreak of E. coli linked to McDonald's signature sandwich, the Quarter Pounder. And apparently, according to the CDC, the report from yesterday, Friday, 75 people across 13 states have been sickened, and one person has died. Someone died from eating a Quarter Pounder, dude. Like, what the fuck? They're saying the number of illnesses is up from the 49 previously reported, and the number of states has increased by 3. At least 22 people had to be hospitalized, including 2 people who developed serious complications that could lead to kidney failure, potentially after consuming fresh onions in the burgers sourced from the California based Taylor Farms. The CDC previously reported that 10 people have been hospitalized. Consumers are thought to have gotten sick between September 27th and October 10th. And major food service distributor U.S. Foods announced on Thursday that Taylor Farms has issued a recall for onions over possible E. coli contamination. The U.S. spokesperson said that the wholesale company is not a supplier to McDonald's. So the true number of people who have fallen ill is likely much higher and could extend beyond the states currently known to be affected, the CDC said, because not everyone who gets sick will require medical attention and will take time for cases to be linked to the outbreak if more reported. Uh, McDonald's said earlier this week it was temporarily removing the Quarter Pounder from the menu in the affected areas, and they put out a statement saying we're working in close partnership with their suppliers to replenish supply for the Quarter Pounder in the coming weeks. In the meantime, all other menu items, including other beef products, including the cheeseburger, hamburger, Big Mac, McDouble, and the double cheeseburger, are unaffected and available. Shares for the fast food giant were down 2.7% Friday afternoon. Shout out to NPR.org for the info. Yeah, honestly, I'm glad I haven't been to McDonald's in a while. I've been weirdly and I think that's weird because I didn't really love this one that much growing up, but I've been weirdly getting into Taco Bell. So I went to one after a spot because there's one right at the path exit here in Hoboken, and it was the only thing open, and I was starving, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is good!" And so now I've gotten it a couple times. So I haven't gotten McDonald's in a long time, but I would always go for the Big Mac. People, I have to say, I would rarely get the Quarter Pounder, but I'm glad I skipped that one. Good lord.
Well, I have a question. E. coli, I always just assumed you get it from like slightly undercooked meats. So if maybe I'm wrong, but I thought that like if you cook anything high enough of a temperature and long enough, like it would kill any bacteria. So is
Yeah,
the meat infected, and no matter how you cook it, you're fucked? Or is it these 13 states worth of McDonald's chains were not cooking the meat enough?
apparently it was the onions that did it. So that's
Oh, it's the onions.
and the onions there for the quarter pounder, they are raw, chopped up onions. So yeah, if it was like filthy onions, I'm sure like that's the only way to describe it. Something got contaminated in the farm. And here's the thing: I don't know. You can clean off E. coli. I don't know what you can do to it necessarily. So someone Google this and get back to us at fratchatpodcast@gmail.com. I would appreciate that.
I know you can get E. coli from swallowing a mouthful of like contaminated pool water. Even with chlorine, you get a mouthful of, I guess, water that's got poo in it. That's why I don't get in the ocean. I'm like,
SEMO found that out in the third grade.
because in
That's
the
why he couldn't go
ocean,
back
you
to the
got
pool party.
whales, sharks, fish,
Yeah, that's why it's
seals
salty.
pooping and peeing. I don't want that in my mouth or on
That's
my
true.
swimsuit.
That's true. And they say whales. This is like a true fact, people. Whales come like over 40 gallons into the sea every time they bust the net.
Oh no.
That's impressive. That's
Holy shit. That's a
impressive.
lot of jizz.
I know. Can you imagine being at the other end of that?
Oh, I can imagine.
Stuck to the wall.
I can imagine. Let me get my lotion and my Kleenex ready. I can
imagine. Oh God. Now I'm picturing it. That's really we gotta move on. We gotta move on. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are currently into that time. I gotta get my trusty timer. I'm not gonna lie. Normally, I am feeling very up to roasting SEMO, but today I'm in a good mood. I might be really bad at this today. But oh God, let's see. It is comedians roasting each other for 60 seconds, and okay, we're gonna do this. And 3, 2, 1. See, you see they're looking stupid. I'm about to say something with your stupid face.
I'm just gonna say your shirt says I'm not procrastinating. And I'm glad that you live by that. How many years did it take you before you popped the question to Julie?
Oh,
7?
6.5. Thank you very much.
You're not procrastinating.
Oh, and how old were you when you got engaged
When I got engaged?
or
3
married?
years ago.
Yeah,
2 years ago.
So that was like what, like 38, 42,
Hey,
53,
hey, hey. Gay terms are
60,
different.
75.
I got married young for a gay man.
Allegedly.
And I think
Young.
you're a little old to get
Young.
Hispanic.
And that is comedians roasting each other for 60 seconds. That actually came out pretty good.
Boy,
pretty good.
you know, it was something racist. So
Oh God.
I had this little HR manager, and we had some girls in the office who had I guess they're typically Hispanic names. Like the last name might be like Mendez or like, you know, Garcia. So I remember she went to this one girl. She's like, "Oh, hi, so and so. Nice to meet you." She's like, "So how many kids do you have?" And she was like,
Oh.
"None."
Oh.
And my HR director was like, "Huh." But she'd always would make comments about like, um, you know, some demographics start their families early, and I'm like, I don't think you should talk about that in
God,
HR.
no.
Like, HR, like you're the problem.
Oh God, that's so bad, dude. That is so bad. How do you guys always hire these HR people?
I don't know. This was
Where do you
back in
find them?
Chicago back in the day, but
Oh,
I
okay.
remember she pulled me in the office one time and she was like, "I need to talk to someone about this." And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "I went to Home Depot and this woman there had no breasts and a mustache." And I was like, "Okay." And
It was
"What do
Lord.
she's like, what do I tell my kids?" And I was like, "I don't think you need to tell your kids anything." And she's
Yeah.
like, "Well, what if they
What
ask?" I was like, "What does it matter?" Like, some I was like, some women have vaginas and some have dicks. That's just the way it is. Some
uh,
men have dicks, some men have vaginas. Some
do you
women
tell your
have
kids about
mustaches.
everybody who goes to fucking Home Depot and you see? Do you keep a list? And there was a
Like,
black guy, Asian guy, Indian guy, white guy over there,
it's so
lady
weird.
with a
I
mustache.
remember she was telling me this lady has a mustache. I thought to myself, she could be Eastern European,
Yeah, it's true.
to be fair.
It's true.
Or she could
Or from
just,
Brooklyn.
she might not identify as being male or female. This person might
Or
be
it's
a
just
they.
Lord. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everybody
Yeah.
knows. It could be her. I know she's on tour. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I was like, "Of everyone in the office, why are you asking me?"
Yeah, what the fuck?
She's like, "Well, just part of the queer community. I thought you'd be the person I should talk to." It's like
It's because you talk funny, boy.
but I just feel like historically, for me, people that work in HR have problems with HR
Yeah,
related discussions or like a not work appropriate like banter. And I also think that people who are psychiatrists always have weird fucking kids.
that's true. Let's call out the obvious, guys. Everyone wants to head into the bedroom with confidence, feeling like the best version of themselves. But the problem is that sometimes our thoughts get in the way of our performance down there. Or maybe we feel that we're just not reaching our full potential. And what are our options, really? Do we pick up a sketchy gas station pill or you're prescribed a drug with a huge list of side effects? Nah, because that's where good friends of Joy might come in, people. Oh, yeah. Now, imagine a supplement you can take like your favorite greens packet that gives you that extra dose of confidence and saves you the embarrassment and hassle of a traditional erection pill. Joy Mode's sexual performance booster is an all natural and science backed solution to increase blood flow, firmness, stamina, and performance down below. Oh, yeah. It comes in a palm sized packet just like this guy right here, like your favorite little electrolyte powder. All you gotta do is stir it into 6 to 8 ounces of water 45 minutes before sexual activity and watch the magic unfold. Literally. Now, not only is this the only supplement you'll need in the bedroom, but it also supports your blood vessels, cardiovascular health, athletic performance, blood pressure, and more. So even on days when you're not having sex, you can take the SPB to boost nitric oxide in your body, which not only supports your erection quality long term, but also increases blood flow circulation, keeping you in tip top shape. Oh, yeah. This allows for your cardiovascular system to pump blood more seamlessly and effectively to the areas of your body that need it, whether during workouts, sexual activity, or your regular daily exertion. When combined with a healthy diet, good sleep, and exercise, you will greatly improve your cardiovascular health. Now, the 30 pack comes in a perforated box, perfect for your supplement cabinet, pantry, or bathroom vanity. It's the perfect 1 month supply. Support your erections, athletic performance, heart health, and overall quality of life with Joy Mode, people. Whether you're on the move or traveling, our compact sachets are easy to pack and take with you. On the go, oh yeah. And get a Joy Mode boost anytime and anywhere. Redefine your intimacy and go to tryjoymoid.com for 20% off with promo code FratChat. That's 20% off and free shipping with promo code FratChat at tryjoymode.com. Ingredients with integrity, it's Joy Mode, people. Now, men across the nation have turned to Joy Mode with over 1 million packets taken to elevate their sexual performance. So don't get left behind. That's true.
It's funny how people find their professions.
And
They're
HR
drawn to it.
people, actually, there was this company I worked at when I was doing PR, and I had like this office space, and at the other end of the wall was the HR lady, and I could hear her on the phone. Usually, when she's getting louder with people, she was a loud talker, anyways. But she had baby daddy issues, and
Uh-oh.
dude, she would get on that phone and scream at that man, and I could hear everything. And I'm like trying to work, and then I guess she was like extremely nice to me, so she would get off the phone for like telling this guy, "You fucking worthless piece of shit! You haven't paid me a fucking month. I'm fucking sick. I'm gonna kick your goddamn ass," and just like. And then all of a
Yikes.
sudden, like she opens the door, like takes a deep breath, and then like comes in, like, "Hey, Carlos, how's it going?" Like, I'm doing great. How are you?
You
Do you
like
need a hug?
fish. Oh, no, honey, I don't need a refill of my coffee, but thanks so much for asking. I will
Yeah.
bury you.
It was fucking wild, dude. So yeah, I've seen it's crazy how HR people, you're expecting to solve your problems, but they're people too. They could be going through
True.
some shit. So I guess the lesson there is learn to deal with your HR person because they may be going through some shit.
That's
Ask for
true.
things in the right day.
We're all people.
Hmm. But anywho, speaking of people and people with problems, we got a very special episode for
Yeah.
you guys because we are in that special time of year, that spooky season. Talk about, of course, the old Halloween. And here at the Frat Chat podcast, we've seen our fair share of people wear some regrettable Halloween costumes, to say the least. And those Halloween costumes don't seem problematic to them at the time until years pass down the road later on. And they decide maybe they want to get a good corporate job. Or maybe they want to, run for Congress or hell, even be president of the United States. And then some asshole finds these pictures. I've been waiting for this moment all along and finally shares them to the press. And then you get canceled like a dumbass. So that's what we're going to do here today. We're going to give you our top 10 suggestions to make sure that you don't get canceled this year of Halloween costumes not to wear. Again, don't wear these costumes. Whatever you do, it will not end well for you. We're going to preface this episode with this because we'll probably laugh at the costumes because we're terrible people, but we want to make sure to save your booty this year, Halloween, at the Frat Chat podcast. So
Save my booty. My booty's up for the taking. Okay, so I work with a lot of young people.
Yes, SIBO.
And I learned that the word spook sometimes can have racial undertones. So like
Really?
spook means let's see. I have here on Wikipedia, it says the word spook was first used in English in the early 19th century and was used to express a mild fear of surprise. Like to scare someone, you spook them,
Yeah.
And then it became known as an undercover agent or spy. And
Oh,
then
you're a
somehow
spook, mate.
like I guess like there's a resurgence of this word in the 70s, and it was used as a racial slur referring to a black person. So it
Oh,
says here that
that's not
there
nice.
was a film called The Spook Who Sat by the Door, and the story is about
No.
the first black man to be recruited and trained by the CIA in the 1970s. So I don't think that when people say the word spooky in a Halloween type context that they're trying to be racist. But I didn't know that there was like a history of the word spook.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wild. But the movie, technically, I mean, it's Spook by the Door, but yes, he was black, but his job to fit the definition of the original word. So they were just double entendreing it.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I learn something every day. That I feel
Yeah.
like every day I learn that there's words in my normal vernacular that I should probably limit.
Yeah, but I
And
don't think anybody uses the word spook anymore. Like if you say, "Hey, I spooked you," I don't think I'm just be like, hey, are you racist? Or like, oh, that's spooky. But I
Well,
guess if you were like, fuck you, you fucking, then maybe I would be like, okay, you're saying that in a weird way, and I don't necessarily appreciate the tone.
well, I bring this up because first on my list, when I was younger, a lot of people would dress up as what they would call a bum or a hobo,
Yeah.
um, or what I would have called a homeless person. And I
I put
learned
fake beard on myself, like dirty clothes, everybody's guilty. That was
it
like
was
third grade.
it was an easy costume,
Easy
and it
costume.
was also a potential theme night on some parties too, like a hobo theme night.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know this till recently, but apparently it's not PC anymore to say homeless. You're supposed to say houseless. And the reason for that is
Oh.
because if you say that someone's homeless, sometimes people's homes refer to like their community and not necessarily like an actual shelter. So I I'll be honest, I don't relate, or so it's hard for me to understand, but rather whether or not I understand, I should still get on the bandwagon and try my best to say, appropriate things. But like when I tell people I'm going home, there's nothing about community
Yeah.
involved in that.
Well,
When I say home, I'm just referring to my small little Astoria apartment.
totally.
So whenever
Totally.
I talk about home, I'm referring to the the structure over my head, and I'm not referring to family or memories or community. It's just like where I pay rent.
And here's the thing, I'm pretty sure if you ask a homeless or a houseless person, let's say, about the difference, they don't give a flying fuck. They'll be like, does that pay fucking for me to get a new home, you idiot? But for me, especially living in this area, like the New York City area, anybody that lives in big cities where you see homeless population, I can't imagine not feeling like the worst person in the world if I'm dressed like a fucking homeless person and then I walk up and I'm standing like in the subway next to one or something. You know what I mean? Like I would feel like the worst person ever. Like you're gonna run into someone in a bad situation, like 110%. You know what I mean? It's like, oof, I would just feel like a terrible fucking person. So like I said, like a third grader was like, yeah, dress like a hobo. It's so easy, and it would be funny. You put on the fake beard, look
Well,
like you're missing a tooth.
I learned about this uh PC situation at work because this patient was talking about this fundraiser, like charitable initiative to raise money for the homeless. And I was like, that's so
Mm.
great. And then she left, and my coworker was like, can you believe what she just said? And I was like, wait, what? What
Ah,
did I miss? And
God,
she's like,
I
can you
roll.
believe that she said homeless? And I was like, did you not hear everything else she said? That she's raising a lot of money?
Like what the
Did you know?
fuck? There's
And
always a
so
hater.
I didn't know that it was such a source of contention, especially amongst young people. People are really particular about, you know,
I'm gonna go with
word
white people
usage.
on
And
this one. The same motherfuckers that came up with Latin X. Like what the fuck is
oh,
that, dude? Like I like no, no, no. I refuse as the ambassador for Spanish people here on the FratChat podcast and all Latinos everywhere. No, Latinx is stupid. What the fuck is that? White people, you gone too
I
far.
never understood that. But
That's so
but
dumb.
but
Leave
as
us
far as
alone.
dressing up like a unhoused person, a houseless person, I just think that long story short, especially after COVID, even more people were left without safe
Nah,
shelter to add to our enormous houseless population already. So
totally,
this crisis is lived by too many and isn't necessarily a cute Halloween outfit.
totally.
I
I
don't think I don't think it was cute back then. When I think about it now, and it's not cute now. It is what it is.
totally. I completely agree on that one. Yeah. If you if you're thinking about that one, people maybe overthink it. Uh, put the hobo costume down. It's not good. But anyways, one that is another one that used to be an easy costume, especially when you had nothing else to do. And I'm looking at you, white people. I love doing this shit when I don't have a costume. You got a fucking poncho. You grab a big sombrero, and then you go up to your friends and say, "Hey, man, I'm a Mexican." No, you ain't no Cheech. Get the fuck out of here. That passed off. Like that worked until like the early 2000s. But if you do that shit now, trust me, it will not age well. Especially like give it like 10 years. Like, But I'm looking at all my white friends on this one. If I had a nickel for any time I saw anyone wearing a goddamn poncho and a sombrero to start talking to some racist ass Mexican accent, oh man, I would have gotten Julie a much bigger ring. God damn it.
You know what? If I was gonna be a Mexican for Halloween, I'm not gonna dress up like one. I'm just gonna take your job.
Shots fired. Papa.
You know, I had to admit, I was a Mexican for Halloween once. I think I was like in middle school, and my mom, I was like, "What am I gonna wear today?" I had to wear a costume, and she gave me a poncho and a sombrero. And I remember getting to school wearing this getup, and no one really said anything about it. I mean, this is the '90s, but
Especially because it wasn't Halloween. He just showed up like that.
I remember my teacher asked me what I was. I was like, "I'm Mexican," and she gave me a look, and that look made me so uncomfortable. And I was like, I should put this costume in my locker.
Yeah.
And then I did.
Miss Gonzalez was not pleased that day.
Yeah. She was like, "The fuck?"
She's like, "Yeah."
And my mom was like, "How was school?" And I was like, "It's okay. Like next year, I had to have a better costume." Whoops. Sorry, Mexico.
Oh God. Simo came with a burrito too.
And then the next year, I was a rice picker.
Oh no. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
I just thought I might as well keep going with the tradition of being offensive.
Well, I have a feeling that one will come up later on the list.
Okay, so next on my list, I think that listen, if you want to dress like Michael Jackson for Halloween, go for it. But I don't think it's necessary to have to dress up like a zombie Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? So I think like versions of celebrities who have passed is a little tasteless. So like, let's say for example,
I will say, zombie Michael Jackson for Thriller. I did it,
I guess that's
like
an exception. Yeah,
if you're dressing as
that's
Thriller,
fair.
that's cool. But like, if you're just like dead Michael Jackson,
Well,
for
how
just to
about
be
this?
dead, he's the
If
only one that you can make an exception with.
I think I can speak for most men when I say we want to have better sex. And for the sake of our partner, we may need to have better sex, fellas. Because no one likes it when you bring a wet noodle to a barbecue party. Write that down. The issue is that over the counter erection pills contain unregulated chemicals, suggest unsafe doses, and include the risk of several other health problems. And who wants that? It's like those drug prescription ads where everybody's like sitting there playing volleyball at the beach, but they're dying of herpes. Not cool. That's why we partnered with our friends over at Joy Mode. Whether you're looking to spice up your intimate moments or increase your confidence in the bedroom, Joy Mode makes all natural and science-backed supplements dedicated to helping men perform better across their core functions. Oh, yeah. The trademark product, the sexual performance booster, is every man's solution for increased blood flow down below, firmness, stamina, and performance of your favorite friend. It's like a pre-workout, but for your buddy down below. And let me tell you, it works. And the best part, the product is totally safe. All ingredients have been assessed in peer-reviewed journals. All ingredients have been studied and researched in humans. It comes in a palm-sized little packet, like your favorite electrolyte powder. Just simply mix one of these bad boys right in with 6 to 8 ounces of water, 45 minutes before sexual activity, and watch the magic unfold. Literally. Like, when you start blowing up an inflatable castle? It's sort of like that, but down below.
Redefine your intimacy and go to tryjoymoy.com for 20% off with promo code FratChat. That's 20% off and free shipping with promo code FratChat at tryjoymode.com.
Ingredients with integrity, it's Joy Mode, baby.
If you idolized Princess Diana,
Yeah,
and you want to dress up like her, then you should be the best Princess Di you can be. Just leave out the cobwebs and all the fake blood because we don't want to trivialize their deaths
With a steering
because
wheel around your neck.
yeah, like and like the families don't deserve that. Like even though like like
Oh
the
god.
sick person in me um goes back and forth on this particular topic because I can think of like there okay there were parties I used to go to in college that were like too soon parties. You dress up like something that is really non PC, and like I would dress up like John Benet Ramsey. You know what I mean? You know, with my father's hands around my neck. Like when I was younger, I thought that was funny. You know, but looking back on like, there's nothing funny about like a
Uh,
dead kid. You know what I mean? Like, what was I thinking?
yeah.
And so like, I think to myself, um, yes, Princess Di was a huge public figure, but she was also a mom. And so
Mhm.
I don't want like her kids, whether or not they're celebrities and rich, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter that their family invented colonizing, but I don't think it's fair for them to come across a picture of someone dressed up like their dead mom. Like I just think it's so
Totally.
tasteless. And
And to be
like,
fair, she married into the family, so she was a school teacher before, so she was nice.
yeah, and like I know what it's like to lose a loved one, and I don't want to see someone's rendition of their like of my loved one as a zombie, you know?
Totally, totally.
So
Can I tell you the worst Princess Di joke I've ever heard? No, I
yeah,
did not
let's hear
like
it.
this joke. This is
Let's hear it.
awful. Just no. So Mother Teresa dies and goes up to heaven, and she goes up to Saint Peter, who gives her pretty much the lay down in heaven. He goes, you're gonna get your angel halo, and depending on how many nice deeds you've done on the earth, depending the size. So the bigger the halo, the nicer, the better, the gooder of a person you were on earth. And so he goes, okay, let's see what we got. He's like, yeah, like the sorting hat in Harry Potter. And then Mother Teresa gets this giant halo and she's so happy. She's like, yeah, awesome. And she walks into heaven and she's like looking at everybody's like little tiny halos. She's like, yeah, this is awesome. And all of a sudden she walks up to Princess Diana. She's like, what the fuck? And she runs back to St. Pete. I think there's some kind of mistake here, buddy. Like, what the fuck? Like, you know who I am? I like took care of lepers. I did all these things. And I look over at Prince Diana, and her halo is twice as big as mine. And St. P goes, halo. Looks over. Oh no, that's the steering wheel. It was just it got caught.
Aw.
It's terrible.
Ma, 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 ma.
Terrible, terrible.
You know what? Princess Diana's death was the first like big celebrity death that I remember as a
Me too.
child.
Me too.
And I remember like being at my grandma's house and waking up and everyone glued around the TV. And I didn't realize the significance of it, but like what a big moment, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that car crash was bad. And fuck the paparazzi too. Because it was all their fault.
Like I feel like there's a lot of celebrities that should still be here, like Princess Diana, like Aaliyah, like there's a lot of like senseless stuff that's gone down.
And yeah, Aaliyah with it, just a random plane crash. Like that's so wild. But it's like Kobe, it's like the helicopter. It's like, that's honestly why I'm like not all about private small jets or whatever, or taking helicopter rides. If like I'm rich, I'm never gonna fucking go in a helicopter. Fuck no. I've done it before, and you just don't feel good. Like at least in a plane, if you're on a 2-jet engine and the one on the right goes out, the one on the left can still carry the plane. But in a helicopter, if either of the fucking rotor, the one on the top and the one on the back break, you're crashing and you're dead. Like there, and
Yeah,
that's
I don't have any need to be in a I don't know what's about white people specifically, but a lot of white people like to put themselves in like these predicaments.
extreme danger.
It's like,
Yar.
let's go swim with sharks. Or not. Or you
Yeah,
don't
no,
have to, you know?
no. I dated a girl that was obsessed with wanting to do that. And she said, would you come with me? He's like, absolutely not. I'm not even going to go in the boat. I don't even want to go that deep into
No
sea.
way.
No, I'm going to be in the shore, my legs up, taking some rays. Like when I swim in the ocean, I like go in like waist deep. I'm like, fuck no. And I'm never the furthest one in. I like make sure there's other bait for the sharks to go ahead and people that cannot swim. around me, just in case, you know. You don't
Dude,
want to get a weak link.
I have a friend that went down to New Orleans and was on like some pontoon boat, like in the marshes, just looking at alligators. No
Oh,
way! I don't want to be in. I don't
uh-uh,
want to be up in their hood.
uh-uh.
If they come to my backyard, they're getting shot. If I go to their backyard, I expect them to eat me. It's
Yeah.
only fair.
And I think alligators are cool as shit and crocodiles. For some reason, a lot of my like TikTok feed is like crocodile videos in the wild, but they terrify the piss out of me. The shit that they
Oh
can
my
do
gosh, yeah.
is wild. I would never go to their habitat. I will watch it all from my cell phone. That is it. Same thing with sharks. I think they're interesting as shit. Love them. Love Shark Week. But fuck no. I am terrified of them. I know enough to know to stay the fuck away. That's
You know, we
simply
had
my
we had
rule.
this patient, I think I mentioned this before, but she's this younger girl in college and she had these those crutches that are like hooked up to your elbow when if you have like a some sort of like I don't know mobility issue, and
Totally.
so it took her a little while to get across the room, and she was telling me how she goes to school in New Orleans. Is it New Orleans or New Orleans? How do you say it? Does it matter?
It depends. Depends where you're from. I think if you're
Oh,
from there, they say Nolans.
Nowlands. Well, she
Nolans.
she goes to school. She went to school at like I don't know if it's like Purdue or something university. I don't know where it is, but somewhere in Louisiana. And she said that there's alligators on campus. And I thought to myself, your parents, knowing your ass is crippled, send you to a place where you can't outrun these alligators. The fuck is wrong with your family?
Yeah, that's terrible,
Kidding
dude.
me?
And I can imagine like stumbling home drunk in college with fucking alligators potentially being out there. Like, fuck
Oh my
no.
gosh. I
Fuck
was like,
no.
I just want to wring your mommy's neck. If my kid was um permanently with crutches, I
Yeah.
would not allow them to go to a campus where you might have to outrun an alligator.
Yeah,
She was
fuck
telling me how
no.
she sees alligators on campus all the time. I'm like, what? No
Cross side to
way.
side. Oh god.
So scary.
No, that's fucking terrifying, dude. Yeah, no. That's like my nightmare is to that's why I don't want to live in Florida. Because they say if there's a body of water anywhere in the South, from like South Carolina down to Florida, if there's a body of water, chances are there's an alligator in it. Even if it's like a teeny tiny one, there's probably an alligator in it. And they like throw rocks in Florida all the time until like these like, the rain fills like this like trench. And it's like this is why you don't go into anywhere, throw a rock and this giant alligator comes out of there. It's like fuck no, dude.
Ooh, yikes.
I'm terrified of that shit. But anyways, uh
Next up,
yeah,
what you got?
yeah, don't do dead celebs. Up next is another one that was also common practice for our time growing up, especially 80s, 90s, all about it. I think also to the early 2000s. But unless you have Native American blood in it, you can't fucking do this. Do not dress yourself like a Native American, especially if you call them Indians.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, do you remember when we were younger, around Thanksgiving, half the class would be wearing bonnets, another half the
Yep.
class would be wearing like feathers in their hair, right? Running
Yep.
around doing the
Yep.
whole yeah, exactly.
How? Oh god, it was so bad. It was so bad. And honestly, like, I didn't even think about it at the time, but for me, it was like legitimately like when kids would make fun of me for they'd call me Mexican and shit. Like I can imagine feeling like that if I'm like partly Native American and having to see kids do that shit. It's like if I walked into
Dude,
school, the school play was like, "Hey, dudes, how you doing?" It's like, no.
my grandfather used to get really upset with me because my grandfather has some Native American blood, and I would come home from school around Thanksgiving with a little you know, chief, feathered mane headdress and running
No.
around going "Wah, wah," whatever, and I would tell him like, "Oh, I learned all about Indians," because we didn't say Native Americans back then. We would say Indians. I
Right.
would say we learned about Indians and teepees, and he'd be like your ancestors didn't live in teepees, lived in long houses in upstate New York. It's
That's
so
so
frustrating
bad.
that they generalize like entire like demographic of people. If you know one Native American tribe, then you know one tribe. Like they're all so
Totally.
different, And
Totally.
so he would get really upset about that, and it didn't make sense to me as a kid. So I was like, "What? Like don't get mad at my learning. This is what we learned in school. Like you should be thankful that I'm retaining information, But looking back, I'm like, wow, that was so offensive.
Yeah, no, learning used to be a little problematic back in the day. Oh God. Oh, but yeah, definitely don't do this shit. You won't be able to pull it off these days. It just looks weird.
Isn't it so funny that we look back on like what we learned as kids? Because a lot of what shapes us as adults is what we learned as kids. And
Totally.
so there is this, adults in America, the older crowd, idolized Christopher Columbus.
Mm-hmm. They do.
Christopher Columbus
I
was,
played him in a school play in
oh
Minnesota.
really?
Like it's like people loved him. It was fucking Columbus, man. Like Columbus Day was big when I was growing up. Not so much anymore.
Christopher Columbus, we learned as the one who founded America.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we have Columbus Day. And it was
Mm-hmm.
celebrated. But Christopher Columbus really was a con artist who died
Yeah,
in jail.
he's a piece
And
of shit.
he didn't just find America, he got lost. He was looking for the West Indies and he called Native Americans Indians because he thought he was in, I guess, India. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah,
makes no
very
sense
lucky
to me.
though, because the fucking ship. If he hadn't found what you call the Americas, his ship was about to fucking commit mutiny on his ass too. They're about to throw his ass overboard and turn back
Yeah.
around.
And then
So
he brought to the Native Americans a lot of disease and
yeah,
like syphilis and smallpox. And I'm sure that he butchered a lot of Native Americans too. I'm sure he killed a lot of people. And then also, like in school, I feel like we didn't learn a lot about Pon de Leon in Florida or like the Vikings that came before like Columbus did, or maybe Amerigo
mhm.
Vespucci. Maybe that's why we're called America because of Amerigo Vespucci. But
That's
it's
exactly
like
what I call America. That's literally it.
so
It's named
I just think
after
it's
him.
so funny that, we have statues of Christopher Columbus all over America, but he really was a shit person. But you can't like undo the teachings of what we learned in school. Because that was like imprinted in our brains at such a young age that like Christopher Columbus was like a symbol of freedom and prosperity. But what a shit person?
I have to give myself credit. I was ahead of the times. The reason that I was cast in my class back in Venezuela to play the lead in Christopher Columbus
You had
was a
syphilis?
school play. Yeah, that's right. I brought syphilis
Yeah.
to school. They're like, oh man, he's nailed it. No, but we had to do basically these little in-class plays first, and the one that my group did was so good that the teacher was like, we should make this like the school play. But in it, at the end of my play, I made sure to put that he was fucking jailed and shit. And so I get taken to jail, and then I was like, he died broke and like an asshole. And then that was
It's true
basically
though.
made the main play. So yeah, I was putting out there that he wasn't so nice before it was cool, people. So I'm an ally.
You're ahead of your
Where are you
time.
taking us?
Oh, I went to get a water bottle, and also
Ah,
I don't have my laptop plugged in, so I need my charger out of my book bag.
ah. All of a sudden, the background started moving. And I was like, "Oh my god, am I high? Like, what is happening?"
I think it's funny if I stand like this.
Oh no, no, no! Well, we do have listeners in Brazil, so shout out to all our listeners in Brazil. We are heard in 69 countries. So that one's for you. There you go. That works.
I'm taking Portuguese classes.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
I'm
dope.
learning Portuguese.
Honestly, if you learn Portuguese, you'll be pretty good with Spanish. You'll at least be able to understand it. Because Spanish is pretty much like a slowed down Portuguese. And I can't
Um,
speak Portuguese, but I can understand a lot of it.
Portuguese to me is so difficult because like in Spanish you have like a e i o u. Well, Portuguese has so many more vowel sounds than that. And they have like little squiggles on a lot of their letters that changes the whole pronunciation of a word. Like if
Oh,
you see an
totally. It's
S
definitely
by
complicated.
itself, it's pronounced like a Z. But if you see two S's, it's pronounced like an S. I don't understand all these rules.
Should be crazy.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Who's next?
you are.
Oh, okay.
Is it me or does buying a sex pill at a gas station feel super awkward? You know, you're like walking around and you don't know what to get. The guy's definitely looking at you, judging you with every step. It's super weird. Plus, then we gotta talk efficacy. Does it really work? Because my buddy once bought a condom from a gas station, and now he has 3 kids, so you tell me. So it's good to know that Jomoid is not only backed by its users, it's backed by science, people, which goes to show that science can be sexy sometimes. Oh, yeah. Now, let me ask you something. Whether you're happy or unhappy with your performance in the bedroom, why not perform even better? Usain Bolt was the fastest man in the world, and he still wanted to run faster. So why not be an Olympic gold medalist in the bedroom, fellas? Because that's where Joy Mode comes in. Joy Mode's sexual performance booster is like a pre-workout, but for sex. It's designed to support erection quality, firmness, and sex drives. And it contains clinically supported doses of ingredients like arginine nitrate, L-citrulline, Panax ginseng, and vitamin C, which is going to make your boy down below stronger than ever. Oh, yeah. Plus, not only is this the only supplement you'll need in the bedroom, it also supports blood vessel support, cardiovascular and heart health, athletic performance, blood pressure, and general erection function. Plus, here are the game changers. All ingredients have been assessed in peer-reviewed journals, and all ingredients have been studied and researched in humans, so you know it works. And I don't know about you guys, but I'll never go back to over-the-counter drugs after trying Joy Mode. And psst, it's small enough to fit in your wallet and take it with you on the go. It's the perfect travel companion, and it's a powder, so you don't need to worry about it getting crushed in there. So all you gotta do, fellas, is just go to tryjoymode.com for 20% off with promo code FratChat. That's 20% off and free shipping with promo code FratChat at tryjoymode.com. Great sex solved naturally. Oh yeah.
Let's see. Next up on my list. Oh, I have terrorist.
Yes.
I don't think it's a good idea to dress up like a terrorist. And sometimes I think that people think that maybe they're being patriotic by saying something mean about terrorism. But what they're really doing is being racist because I think, well, people have many different takes on what they think a terrorist looks like, but I would bet money that the average American has some pretty racist ideas of how they imagine a terrorist to look like. I'm talking like I think that the average
Yep.
probably red state American hears the Middle East and just thinks like terrorist organizations. I don't think
Totally.
that they think like when if I hear the word Iran, you know what I think? I think baby cucumbers and pistachios because that's a joke that someone has on stage
Yeah,
about
Pedro.
pistachios.
That's
And
true.
but I also think like I had a friend that I used to live with. Her family's from Iran, and she was always eating baby cucumbers. That's just what I think of. Like I don't think of like terrorist organizations, and I just think it's unfortunate that if you were to Google like terrorist costume, they're gonna look like not necessarily Osama bin Laden, but like that
Gross.
demographic. And that's
And,
me because we know a lot of terrorism that happens in America are people born in America and they look just like you and me. Do you know what I mean? But people tend to like um I don't know. I think almost people like Donald Trump and like the Republican Party want us
I'll
to
say it's on both ends. Everybody does it with this kind of shit. When you say terrorist, I've seen people do it. They'll usually involve some kind of brown face too, which is an
yeah.
oof.
I think if you watch
Oof.
TV or movies, the terrorists are always brown. It's not
Yeah.
fair
And
because school shooters, they're terrorists and they're normally white boys. You know what I
and
mean?
I'll say it started after 9/11, because before that, it used to be the Russians. In like the 80s
And
Oh
early
yeah.
90s, every bad guy was Russian or German, but usually it was the Russians. So then after 9/11, and it became like, the Middle Easterns. Then who knows that it'll be AI next, Mexicans, who knows? They're coming for everybody. Who knows? But
I
yeah,
think that terrorism is a real threat to all of us. And
totally.
no matter where you are in the world, it's a
It
threat.
happens everywhere. One of the
Um
most
it,
famous terrorist groups was fucking Irish, for God's sakes.
mhm.
So,
And
uh,
some parts of the world is scarier than others, and we shouldn't make light of it, especially while suggesting racial undertones. So everyone
yeah.
listening, don't dress up like a terrorist or a
And
school
no,
shooter.
you even have to be extra mindful of this depending on the city you're in. Like, for example, you fucking dress up like Osama bin Laden in New York City. That is fucked up. You can't do that. You gotta be extra mindful. Or it's already problematic to where as it is, but depending on the cities you're at, it might be even worse. So
Yeah.
watch yourself. Watch yourself. Anywho, for the next one on our list, you guys. This one's gonna get pretty offensive if you fucking do this. And I've seen people do it. And Simo alluded to one of these earlier. But this is either slavery or like indentured servant or labor related costumes. Like I fucking literally have, swear to God, have seen someone dressed like an African slave, which is so fucked up. Or a rice picker. There's a literal, if you Google rice picker costume right now, you will find it. It is readily available for you to get canceled like a fucking idiot. And if, and they're very stereotypically bad. Like they have like the pointy little hats, and it's like, oh no, what are
Okay,
you?
so I have a what if question. You're what if you are black and
Okay,
you want to dress up like Harriet Tubman, like a notable
I think
person?
it's cool. They can do that. But if
Okay.
you're like a white lady, you can't dress up like Harriet Tubman. like if Julie comes up to me right now, it's like, oh my god, I found the perfect Halloween costume, Harriet Tubman. I'm gonna
Bad
be
news.
like, okay, we definitely can't get married anymore. Like we have a problem here.
So I
So
guess if you're of Asian descent and you want to dress up like a rice picker, like I would give that leeway because they own that, you know.
they can do it. They can do it, and they can be funny about it. I guess. Who am I to say? But if you're again a white lady, if Julie comes out, it's like we're gonna be rice pickers for Halloween, and I got Stella a baby little doggy rice picker outfit. It comes with a little whip to hit us with. It's like no, it's gonna be problematic again. So it's kind of like saying the N word. I can't say it, you can't say it, but black people can say it. What am I saying?
Doesn't stop you. Just kidding.
No, no.
Just kidding.
I can say spick. I can say wetback. You can say the F word. We all have words we own.
Fag.
Yeah.
I was like, you can say
Say
fuck.
that.
Um
So,
anyhow,
you know.
yes, I agree with that. I don't think it's I would never dress up like those. Speaking of uh like minority groups, you shouldn't make fun of any minority group, especially if they are um th- uh the butt of jokes in general. Do you know what I mean? So like
Totally.
if
Totally.
there's a disenfranchised or like if there's a group that's going through it, then why are you gonna kick them while they're down, you know?
That's
So
true.
I think that transphobic costumes are bad news. Like if you want to go to
Mhm.
a Halloween party in drag, I hope you bring out the best drag, but you do it and you rock out. If you want to be the
Totally.
mom in Hairspray and you want to dress up like John Travolta as the mom in Hairspray, I don't care. Go for it. But if your intention is to make fun of like a marginalized group, I don't think it's a good idea. And so I just feel like transgenders women specifically need our protection now more than ever because politics, red states, conservatives, there's a lot of groups that just are not nice to them. And
Dude, have you seen, speaking of the Trump ads that are played during like sports games about Kamala Harris wants women in sports. And then they pan over and they like show these like little girls with like an 8-foot lady with like a giant mustache who's like jacked.
I've seen that. It's crazy.
Yes, I had the spot last night at this bar in Staten Island, and the World Series were on the TV when I got there, and the World Series were on Fox News, and they played this ad, and me and the guy that run the show literally like we're both staring at it, and then we both just looked at each other like, "What the fuck?" And he's like, "That's how you know you're watching the World Series on Fox News." But it was like the wildest ad I've ever seen in my life. It was just like Kamala Harris wants to fucking bring women in sports. It shows you. It was like Bernice and dodgeball. Like, God damn it, Bernice!
Yeah.
It was like comically, like clearly AI and Photoshop trans people too. Like these were not real people in any way of the form. It was like clearly AI images. And I'm sure people are watching that shit and they're like, yeah, fuck you, Kamala. You
Now,
see this size of that bitch? It's like, oh my God.
I'm not trans, so I'm not an expert on what it's like to live a day in the life of a trans person. Like, so I can't speak to it. But as a member of the queer community, I know that 99.999% of my queer friends are in sports. They're in the arts. Do you know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
when people get on a high horse about trans community involved in sports, I'm like, that's so far and few between. Like, why are we worrying about stuff that doesn't happen that much? Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
really doesn't. It
Like,
really
like
doesn't.
people, like queer people, we're normally like on stage or backstage in theater, you know,
That's fair
or
enough.
we're like emo in art class. You know,
Yeah,
we're
totally.
not like we're not as, I guess,
Well, that's
aesthetically
also what they
inclined.
do. You know, it's 1% of the population or less even. It's like 0.5% of the population, but it's a misunderstood group. And so they use that to fearmonger. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And before,
totally.
it was before, like, swear to God, you look in the 90s when Mexicans food became like huge in America and they were like demonizing Mexicans. That's kind of like where it started. They don't know anything about them, so they're terrified. And so they demonize the shit out of them and make it oh, they're taking from you now, or they're fucking demonizing you. They're taking your kids and you know, they're indoctrinating them. But, you know, I see a lot of fucking parents dressing their kids up like Donald Trump and bringing them to church and shit. It's like, huh, isn't that indoctrination? But
It's
anyways,
crazy. Well, the main reason why I brought up transphobic costumes is because like almost 10 years ago, I guess 8 years ago, 2016, there was this costume circulating. It was actually recalled by Walmart, Amazon. The costume is called, excuse my language, but it's called Tranny Granny.
oh no,
And the word tranny is derogatory to the
yeah,
trans community. It's no different than saying the word faggot. Like, it's just not nice. And
yeah,
so having a costume called that isn't really great. But also it just makes fun of a marginalized community. So
yeah.
that's what made me think of this particular one. But yes,
I
transphobic
haven't heard that
costumes, no
word
good.
in years. Tranny, that maybe in like 15, 20 years. But yeah, that used to be a big one. Uh, cool. Some guy was knocking on the door, and I had the video thing.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry about
I
that.
thought you were Googling the origins of the word tranny.
No, I
That's
was
what I
just
see you doing just now. I was like,
it
just
was just
trust me, it's not nice
everywhere.
to say.
But I remember people dressing up, like trannies, and it was just, like the most offensive fucking thing. Like put a cucumber or something down their pants, and like a beard or something. It was just like, ugh. Like it's like the most if your costume, and this will, apply to pretty much all of them, if it has to be some wild, crazy stereotype that you only seen in like cartoons or something like that, or like crazy movies, it's probably not cool. And this goes with that too. So,
You
but like
know,
Seema said, if you want to do drag and you want to like be a lady and you want to like fucking kill it, go for it. But like if you're gonna rip on them and be disgusting about it, then we're gone.
I think that like we're we as just people in general, especially as Americans, we're so shaped by like, like movies and school, and I don't know. I feel like one of my favorite movies growing up was Ace Ventura, and the end of the
Yes.
movie was such a slap in the face of the trans community. To me, I'm like, my first exposure to anything that was trans related was such a mean punchline, and so I feel like Hollywood historically was not fair to the trans community, and I think about like Hollywood was not fair to maybe brown people after 9/11, because you know what I mean,
Totally.
like, and so like this is what like I think that people like I don't want to make fun of the deep South, but like red states, just what I see in like CNN, like Trump rallies. I think that people really believe what they see on TV and what they see in movies, and like it's so hard for them to like separate that from reality. And I kind of blame Hollywood for that sometimes.
Totally. But at the same time, it's like blaming video games for school violence. It's like just because you're exposed to something doesn't mean you should fucking be an idiot about it. It's like we're in the era where you have the most information available to you as a human being at the tip of your fucking fingers. Like back in the day, the books were one and few, and the average person couldn't even fucking read. So you have to trust whoever was reading your book wasn't fucking steering you wrong and giving you the wrong ending or telling you some shit to do that you're not supposed to. It was all about interpretation. So for someone to fucking believe everything they see on a movie or a book, like, dude, you're a fucking idiot. Just Google it. Just Google it.
Yeah.
And if you're fucking one of those conspiracy theories, oh, Google is overtaken by the goddamn shut up. Fucking, I don't know, ask Jeeves it. I don't fucking give a fuck. There's got to be something that you can use. There's millions of search engines. Fucking use one. Pick one, you goddamn idiots. But yes, chill out with the trans costumes, people. Anyways, I got two more in me, and these two, the last two that I have left, I was trying to think which one was more offensive, and I couldn't. I'm gonna go with this next one for two, but just know that it could have made number one. It was close. It was just so think
Yeah,
of these next two,
I don't think it's a big deal.
yeah, as one A or as
Just
one
kidding.
and one B. Yeah. Seaman doesn't think it happened.
This doesn't. Whatever.
It never happened, he says.
Prove it. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
And we're canceled. And
And
this
we're
is
canceled.
again 1B, 1A in these next two for me. And this is Holocaust related costumes.
Ooh.
Really. Like I've literally seen fucking women dressing like Anne Frank. And remember when fucking Prince Harry dressed like a Nazi a couple years ago? Like in this is like 2012 maybe even before that. But he dressed like a full on fucking Nazi soldier and went to a bar. And of course, he's a gajillionaire being the fucking king's son. So that costume was like really, 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 really good. And it's so, dude, your
Bad
family
news.
fought against the goddamn
And
Nazis.
he went to everyone at the bar and he told them all that his oven sat 8. It was really horrible. Really, really, really horrible.
Yeah, dude. So anything to do with the Holocaust. And this one, I don't think Jewish people would even. This is, when we asked, can black people dress like a slave? I don't know that any Jews would do a Holocaust outfit. I think even they know to fucking it's off limits. You know what I mean? Like, there's not a scenario where I would see someone dressed like the Holocaust and be like, "Oh, that's a funny costume, dude. Like, that's good." Yeah, it's like
I don't think you should dress up like anything that revolves any like major tragedy. So for
yeah,
example, like you shouldn't dress up like a Holocaust victim. You shouldn't dress up like someone who drowned in the Hurricane Katrina. You shouldn't dress like someone who jumped off a building during 9/11. Like
yeah,
why would you bring light to these horrible, horrible situations? Like be
totally,
respectful.
totally. If it's a tragedy, definitely it's off fucking limits. And you know, so many people died during the goddamn Holocaust that everybody literally knows someone affected by it. If if you have any friends at all, so
I have
yes,
family who died in the Holocaust, and it's horrible. My uncle Fritz has letters that I think my mom has them, but they're letters from like I guess my grandparents or their siblings or whatever, um, communicating with people who were in camps.
Oh
And
shit.
my mom took these letters one time to get them translated because they're written in German. Because my mom's side family, half of her mom was German Jew, and the person translating them refused to read out loud or to translate the horror that she was reading the letters and cried. But we need to donate this stuff to like a Holocaust museum. But we have some stuff like it's horrible. It's like and then to hear people in Florida are like, we don't want to talk about it. We don't even think it really happened. Like just because it's uncomfortable to talk about doesn't mean that you shouldn't talk about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's wild to me that there's a population because at least like with flat earthers, and not to give them the benefit of the doubt because that is also so fucking stupid. Most people will never go to space. You know, even though there's pictures of the goddamn round Earth readily available. If you just trust what you see, fine, okay, maybe. But like the Holocaust, there's like countless videos, testimony. You know, people saw it. There's pictures. There's
Yeah.
goddamn, fucking a whole entire museum with artifacts and shit from it. Where there's no possible way that you could say that it didn't goddamn happen. You know, and yet here we are, where people legitimately believe that it never happened. And it's weird because a lot of them are kind of like Nazis and like skinheads, and so it's kind of like, isn't that like wouldn't you technically want to believe that that happened? Because that's like the biggest thing y'all ever did. You know what I mean? Like, so if you deny it, then why do you believe that ideology? You know what I mean? That's like
Yeah.
it's like saying Michael Jackson didn't write Thriller. You know, that's like the best thing you'll ever do. It's going downhill from there. Now skinheads are a joke. Uh, unless maybe unless the other guy wins again, we'll see. But wah wah.
Wah, wah, wah.
But yeah, no, that is not cool at all. Everybody knows someone affected by this shit. So don't pull that off. Do not try it, people. Anyways, what you got for your last one?
Well, this one to me is like this is my top one because there's such a fascination right now with the P Diddy scandal. And don't get me
Yes.
wrong, like when I look at the news in the morning, like part of my morning routine when I'm commuting to the office is I just look at like the top articles in Apple News, whatever, and there's always something about P Diddy and the ongoing investigation. And there's so many um more victims coming forward. A lot of them are minors. It's really sad. And
Totally.
so I hear people at work or like patients that, we chat with, and even friends of mine like make light of it and say, like, I'm gonna I'm gonna be, the FBI agent dragging a bag of baby oil behind me because I just raided P. Diddy's home, or I'm gonna be part of a freak off party, and they're making light of it. And I think to myself, like, you're gonna see that there's gonna be hundreds of victims who were young and drugged and um, savagely raped, and I just don't think it's anything funny about that. And I think that it's upsetting because I I'm interested in the outcome. Like if there's a celebrity that I idolize and I support their work and I know that they've been involved in some nasty shit, I want to know who they are so I stop supporting their work. Do you know what I mean? Like, but I don't find any of this like entertaining. Like I wish it never happened. It's sad to me.
Totally. And
So
here's the
like,
thing. I like that you put this one at number one because you 100% know. You 100% know that someone's going to do this.
oh,
Someone's
yeah,
100% going to
absolutely.
do this. There's not a chance in hell. There's not some college idiot right now. Fucking like, oh my God, I'm going to put the funniest P. Diddy party outfit together. And it's gonna be so bad. It's gonna be so bad. So if you're listening to this show right now, and this is like the only thing you hear, these last two, yeah, definitely don't fucking do these. This included. You will definitely not age well with this one, especially
It's
because
just too soon.
yeah,
Ooh.
and so much more is gonna come out that's gonna make the costume age even worse. You know what I mean? Like what we've heard right now is just the tip of the iceberg. Wait till he goes to fucking court for this, and all that information is made public. Then it's gonna be really fucking bad. So
We don't want to
that's already
glorify
bad. Whew.
a rapist or someone who drugs people. Like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I know that you're innocent until proven guilty, but my gut tells me that he's going down. And if proven guilty, then we need to reassess how we view this, music mogul, because I think
Totally.
that I don't know. Bill Cosby is a creepo. He drugged people. Fuck him. Jeffrey Dahmer drugged people and ate them. Like, he's a fucking weirdo. Fuck him.
And he
But
wasn't funny.
people dressed up like Jeffrey Dahmer for Halloween with like class. They came to
Yeah.
our shop looking for oversized aviators. I'm like, why do you want to glorify this? It's not. He was not a fashion icon. You don't want glasses to look like him.
No.
But then
Especially at
people
your
are gonna want to
store. Those are
be
expensive. Jesus.
like. I remember when I was little. There's so many cases about priests molesting kids, and there's so many costumes of people dressed
Oh
up like
yeah,
priests
yeah,
with
carrying a
little baby
baby
dolls
doll. Yes. Oh my
slung around
god.
their waist. And I used to think that was funny. And now I look back on it, I'm like, it wouldn't be
That's
funny if I was one of
so
those kids
bad.
who got like ass raped by the priest of my church, Like that's
Totally.
horrible. So anyway, I
Totally.
just don't think it's fun to make light of someone's sexual assault or being drugged or both. And I think that if people are going to poke fun at this P. Diddy investigation, then they might be a shit person.
Totally. Absolutely.
We're gonna
Uh
see it. You're gonna see it online, of course.
guarantee you're gonna see it. Guarantee you're gonna see it. And Reddit's gonna pop off with it. So we'll if we see it, we'll share it with you guys. Just so you know who the idiots are.
Yeah.
But anyways, down to the last one. And it's crazy because I have seen people do this shit up and even through college. There was a kid that fucking did this shit. And I don't know how he managed to scrub the internet of this picture, but there were pictures out there for a while. But it's fucking anything with blackface. White people, that means you can't be LeBron James. You can't be Blade. You can't be Kazam. No, you can't be Dwayne The Rock Johnson just because he's a lighter shade. You can't fucking do it. No,
Mm-hmm.
if you have to take makeup of any kind to your face and darken it to play this goddamn character, fucking throw the costume idea out. It's not gonna age well. And it doesn't matter how pretty you are. I'm looking at you, Justin Trudeau. That shit comes out.
Yep.
That
Oh, I
shit comes.
forgot about Justin Trudeau. So do you remember? Do you know who Megan Kelly is? She's a
Yeah, yeah,
conservative
yeah, yeah. Yep.
news anchor person. So she had her own talk show, and they were talking about there's a New York housewife named Luann de Lesseps, Luann, and Countess Luann came to a party as what's her name, Diane from the Supremes,
Diana Ross?
Diana Ross. And so she has this like huge afro. And I don't think she's necessarily in blackface, but she definitely had a lot of bronzer on, so her skin tone was a little bit darker. And they were discussing this. I think this is what they were discussing on the show. And they were like, "How do you feel about that?" And everyone's like, And Megan Kelly said, "When I was younger, it wasn't a big deal." And then people on the show were like, I think it probably was then. It most certainly is now, but it's never been okay to dress like blackface." And Megan Kelly was like, "I don't think so." And then her show was taken away from her. And I think that was the main contributing factor to, like, people were like, no, you can't be a blackface sympathizer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And here, I just pasted a picture in our doc at the bottom. Look at the size of the afro she wore. I know Diana Ross had poofy hair, but look at the size of this fucking afro. She looks like
Oh
Marge
my
Simpson.
gosh.
That's literally Marge Simpson size. If she trimmed a little bit on the sides, that would be a Marge Simpson sized afro. Like, what the fuck, lady? And
Yeah.
yeah,
And
she definitely browned her face a bit there.
yeah,
Woo!
bad
But
news.
even she apologized for it. But yeah, Megan Kelly, what the fuck? How are you gonna excuse this shit? It's like, come on, dude. But just take the L for white people and move on, Megan Kelly. Just move on.
I just think that um I don't know, making fun of just any ethnicity just in general is in poor taste. But I think that
Mhm.
blackface is just one of the most offensive, meanest. And
So
they used to
offensive.
be like back in the day, they used to be like minstrel shows that were so offensive and
Yeah.
like
and they would
Nothing
put the
good came of that.
lips and like shit, and it was so bad. Or it's kind of like when the way in the '80s comedies they would hire white people to play Asian men, and would be these like super stereotypical fucking offensive Asians with like giant teeth in them and shit. It's kind of like that, man. It's like, dude, how did that fly? How does someone? Ooh, the world
I'm
is
telling
crazy,
you,
man.
Hollywood allowed it.
Yeah.
Hollywood said, okay, we want um to incorporate more Asian actors in our films, so we'll make sure that they are like sushi chefs or kung fu masters, or you know what I mean. Like, I feel like a lot of what stereotypes exist is because Hollywood allowed it. Hollywood allowed minstrel shows. Hollywood allowed a lot of things, and that's
And
what
back in
people
the
think
day, they
about.
didn't want to hire any actual black people. But for example, like they got in the '65 film Othello with Laurence Olivier, who's like a legendary actor, and of course they put him in fucking blackface,
Yeah,
and
that's
it's literally
true.
like shoe polish. It's literally fucking shoe polish. So
And
it's bad, dude.
there's always that one like typical white person who's like, "Well, what about white chicks?" That was racist. It's different because white people aren't marginalized. Do you know what I mean? And
Totally.
you know what I mean. So like,
And they were dressing up like two particular people, and the comedy was how the fuck are these big black guys gonna play these, like OMG white girls? So it's
mhm.
not like they're making fun of white people, it's just the ridiculousness of the characters they have to play. So it's not being racist towards white people. They were just playing OMG girls, who was just what these people fucking happen to be. So
And
it's different.
there's no like tense historical roots about like white people being oppressed. You know what I mean? So like,
Totally.
it's completely different. But
Now
there are
there
gonna
is
be some
one
people who are
costume in
like,
that
"Wait a
movie.
second."
There is one costume in that movie that's a little racist, and it's in the beginning of the movie when one of them is playing like the Cuban shop owner.
Oh,
he's got
yeah.
he's got the giant cigar. He's like, Guantanamera! That was a little, but I'll give him a pass. I'll give him a pass because it made me laugh. It was funny as shit. But I remember being like, "God damn, dude, maybe that one was a little." He wasn't saying any Spanish, just like making noises, what, and singing random Spanish songs. Oh god, but it was good. White Chicks was honestly one of my favorite movies. And it passes the comedy test when it was actually one of my dad's favorite comedy movies.
Oh,
Whenever it
yeah?
popped up on TV, he would fucking and he would always say that he didn't find American humor that funny because he thought it was all like fart jokes and shit. But he would, whenever that movie would pop up, he would stop and be like, "That's it. I have to watch this." And it's so funny, like my dad. We moved to America when my dad was in his 50s. You know what I mean? It's a total different sense of humor, and just seeing this man just giggling at white chicks is hysterical. So that movie holds a
The
special place
only
for me.
movie that my dad and my grandfather and I liked, the 3 of us, 3 generations, was Christmas Vacation. That's the only one.
Oh, that's a great movie too. That's one of my favorite movies. Actually, that's one of the favorite movies I even bought digitally so I can watch it
Oh,
whenever I
yeah?
want every year. I have it on my Amazon Prime account. It's just too good of a movie. All of them are good, but I particularly like the Christmas one.
Oh, so
Second one is Wally World, I think, in my
mhm.
opinion. And then European Vacation is still good, but and then obviously the newer one goes to the
Vegas?
bottom. Vegas was still good, but they made one a couple of years ago where they're older and it's more about the kids. It has the guy who played what's his name is Andy from The Office is really leading the cast, and Chevy Chase at this point is a grandpa. It's
Okay.
still funny, but it's not it's not as good as the OGs, obviously. But anywho,
Anyhow,
ladies and gentlemen, that was our list here at the Frat Chat podcast. And again, make sure you stay away from these costumes. Don't wear this. You will get canceled. There will be
correct.
evil incoming for your life. You will never get to be president. So please, for the love of God, heed our warning. And then once you're done heating or warning, make sure you give us a follow on all our social channels at FratChat Podcast. That's on Instagram. That's on Facebook. That's on Threads. That's on YouTube. That's on Twitter/X. You can also give me a follow. Check out my website, carlosgarciacomedy.com. You can also check out my socials at Carlos Does the World on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, on Threads, on YouTube. Carlos Does World on Twitter/X. You can follow my good buddy Simo over here at chris.moore.comedy on Instagram, on the Tiki-Taki, and Seymour Comedy on Twitter/X. Oh, yeah. Mr. Mo, it's time for us to roll. So won't you please get us out of here?
I motion to adjourn this meeting.
And I second. Don't get canceled, people. Hear a warning. All right, you guys. We'll be back next week with another edition of the greatest podcast in the history of podcasting and time. It's the FratChat Podcast. See ya. Peace.